What is up, everyone, and welcome back. Hope you are all doing well. It is great to see you again. Today we are getting into the Deer Hunter Act 3 Life and Death. I've been slowly going through the Deer Hunter catalog from Act 1 all the way through. The next up is going to be Color Spectrum, which presents its own set of challenges, being as long as it is. I may have to do that in 2 parts because I think the total running time is somewhere around 2.5 hours, and I'm just not sure that I can sit through a 2.5 hour video of just inundating myself with music. I do it in a stream, but I've got a little bit of a break in between tracks where I'm interacting with people. I'm not sure I can sit here for 2.5 hours straight actively commenting. That might be on the draining side. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about color section. Did you mind and be okay with me breaking that up into 2 videos that ideally I would try to get done about a week apart? Maybe a day apart. I don't know. That would really depend on my scheduling and how things are going. Anyway, Deer Hunter Act 3, once again, Matt Gigante has provided a fantastic story guide, which really helps me and allows me to be more in tune with what's going on in the story, because these really are almost like theater productions or musicals or plays as opposed to just being a record. And there's so much going on. It really helps me grasp it all and be able to have that connection to deliver an even better video for you guys. So let's go ahead and get into this one, shall we? 57 minutes long. The album was released in 2009 by the Deer Hunter. The very first track is Writing on a Wall. And here we go. So, Act 3 begins shortly after the end of Act 2 at the beginning of World War I. Hunter is now in his early 20s. Love that very familiar vocal chorus that Casey loves to utilize.
Oh, it's been so hard, but your luck could change if you just roll up your sleeves.
The vocals alone and the different chorus is just, it's a treat in of itself. Love how he brings that military marching cadence in with the percussion to symbolize that Hunter is joined the military and that he's off to fight in World War I. It's a really great way to build into the record. Love that huge drum sound. Those massive toms. My next track is in Cauda Veneum. My Latin's a little rusty. Sorry about that. Latin for poison in the tail. Immediately we are thrown into Hunter's first experience of battle. I love how you get some of the emo and the slightly heavier influences in some of these passages and the vocals, the guitar lines. There's really cool drum passages. The bass work here is stellar. Really love the tremolo picked accent passage of the guitar work there. And I love the chorus there, or that little refrain almost. We've never been so excited to see you before, which I can only imagine being the troops that he's relieving. Tell you're getting that conflict of humanity and morality within Hunter here as he is waging this battle and not really seeing people as human, which is really important when you're in combat, to be quite honest. You kind of have to disassociate that. Love the horn section there. It's a great way to drop out and give you a little bit of a respite. Does such a great job providing that tension and that pain and sorrow with that tremolo picked accent guitar line full of distortion and effect. I love this callback here to the thoughts of misleading. It's a really great touch here. The note says, hiding in the wall of the trench, Hunter remembers what brought him here in the first place. His mind returns to his time with misleading, the blinding terror of war bringing him to miss the woman he came here to run away from. Certainly experienced a little bit of that firsthand, being over there, being engaged, and thinking about your loved ones in the middle of a war zone. It's a nice touch. It's a really great way to end that very hard emotional track to kind of lightens things up a little bit, gives you that wistfulness, that sadness, that remembrance. Kind of relieves that tension. Casey does such a great job the way he crafts these tracks, building that tension to release. Next track is What It Means to Be Alone. You get that fantastic drum sound here, that really rich resonant kick tone. Really snappy snare. With a cool bit of reverb on it. Love the clarity and the articulation of that bass tone. It sounds so good. I do feel like the drums are overpowering the backing chorus just a little bit. I wouldn't mind hearing them come up just slightly to cut through that drum, especially that snare. It's so snappy. You really get that coming of age and having your innocence even more destroyed than it already was in the second record here.
Bodies brewed in frigid winter air, where family sons are robbed beneath their
Suddenly you see all this destruction and torment, and you realize that the world is so much more cruel than what you expected before. Love that slight change there musically. Love how the piano became a little bit more potent here in this part of the track. Oh, this passage is gorgeous. It's utterly breathtaking in its beauty. It's almost soothing with these tortured vocals. Really puts that imagery and that thought in your head of trying to imagine what he's experiencing, seeing his friends cut down and dying.
from above never answered quite enough. Looking up never offered you too much. Now the only one you have is
some of the notes here. Hunter fled the city hoping to leave his problems behind, blaming the world for his misfortunes, only to find the world is far crueler and colder than he imagined. As he walks the battlefield, he can't tear his eyes away from the countless cold, lifeless bodies, which is really what that last passage was. In the wake of Hunter, which just witnessed his pretenses once of a held of a higher power have been all but destroyed. A cold hollowness begins to grow within him, the sense of isolation and the vast cruelness of the world unlike anything he's encountered before. The next track is The Tank. You can certainly guess what this is. As the company continues to move forward, the sound of grinding metal and turning tracks echo from the bridge. Love it how you get this like personification of the tank. The tank is its living character. Love the passage, the cynicism and the venom in the vocals. Get this gorgeous falsetto that Casey's capable of, the purity in his tone. Feel like the pain of losing his comrades here, being gunned down by this metal monstrosity that is Tank. World War I being the first time tanks were utilized in combat. It's a really great way to do this. You get that helplessness of not being able to take it out. Can't describe the power of this passage. It's just amazing. There's that military drum cadence once again. I really like that touch. You always get those slightly more aggressive guitar tones in the background when Casey's trying to portray a part in a more aggressive tone. Begging for bliss beyond the pain, relief is just turn away, relief being death from the suffering that the tank is causing him and his men, his fellow troops. It's just incredible. Outstanding drum fills to the end of that, by the way. Really like that. It's honestly, it feels almost redundant at this point to constantly compliment these guys' musicianship because the band is so top notch and Casey keeps such a strong cast of musicians around him for this. The next track is The Poison of a Woman. Tank destroys targets with disgusting precision, and Hunter sees any attempt to try and stop it as futile. In the chaos of the battle, Hunter is mistakenly left behind in his company. After running through time, he comes across a small cottage amongst the trees. Definitely tell this is a character piece, giving us a more clear picture of the woman and what she's doing. This very swing, big band feeling that he does for these certain styles of tracks is always something I enjoy. Love that little bell hit, which almost sounds cynical.
Never smiles. She swears she's
such an interesting character that he's developed. Matt's got a great bit about her in his notes. I really love that combination of the tambourine and the piano there and the vocal chorus. Also, you get that really subtle snare. You can tell the snare tone's changed here. You get more ringing in it. You get a bit more of the chains. This melody here, especially with that bass line, is almost hummable. You can sing the melody. It's so catchy. I love the way he's able to manipulate his voice and stretch these vocal lines out. The drummer stays so comfortably in the pocket. And he still accents and plays so well. Now you got this section that's singing into the next track. You can hear the sounds of units moving. Bagpipes, marching feet. Hunters awoken by the sound of the soldiers moving in the distance, comes to a sight of a previous battle, hearing his company fighting just over the ridge. As he crosses the field to join them, he stops when he notices a man crouched and rummaging amongst the debris. Hunter confronts the man, seeing him pocket items taken from the dead. Hunter calls the man a thief. The track is The Thief. Stating what he's doing is wrong, but he counters Hunter's argument, stating these items will simply rot in the mud now the soldiers have died, and there isn't better that their belongings do not go to waste. Get an almost Alice in Chains like feeling with some of the vocals here. Really love that very cool tap guitar accent back there. Very faint, but it's there. You get that really strong, distorted guitar tone again. Whenever that comes up, it's like a "you will see this again" moment. Something that you know will kind of hit you a bit later on with what he's trying to craft in his story. Really cool, almost psychedelic textures here. modern sounds here. The different electronics, the pitch shifting and phasing of the guitar tones. Really cool percussion element added there with the bongas and the congas. Oh, that ends the bulk of the track so beautifully. Now we've got this sequence that helps seek into the next track, and it really shows just the attention to detail that Casey pays when he composes his tracks to have these bridges, these segues into each track. It's also interesting how that whole track was really about morality and Hunter's worldview's changing, watching the thief steal or take from the dead. Which, of course, the very next track here, Mustard Gas, continues to impact on that morality. Well, how the track is a bit heavier, if you can call it Deer Hunter Q heavy. You get more of that precision and technical playing here. I love that polyrhythm going on. Love the darkness and all the different emotions, the horror, the questions of why someone would allow them to succumb to such a terrible thing like chemical weapons. Says in the note, this is a personal observation. That passage lyrically there, stuck in this disguise, is talking about being garbed up in protective measures, gas masks, and the additional clothing required to help fight off and fend off mustard gas and other chemical weapons. That response is so chilling but so accurate. You're from the other side. And they were utilizing everything they could to take out who their enemies were. Definitely like how you get these slightly heavier, these slightly darker tracks from a musical perspective in here to help break up everything that Casey composes. You still get a little bit bombast, the horn sequence with the horn passages and as Hunter dodges left and right, a mortar shell hits the ground next to him, sending him flying, connecting with the ground. He falls unconscious. And the next track is going to be Saved. Blurely coming to Hunter lies in the debris, contemplating his situation.
Amongst the stone and smoke,
Going back to that softer, more folksy feeling.
images floating all about life in the afterglow. My decaying mind pretends none of this ever happened. We either learn to live a lie, or we're waiting here to die. And after all this suffering, I could lie here for good with the mind on fire. I try and stand my ground. Illuminate, and I will follow. Amongst the stone and smoke, rising above it all, broken but not beyond repair. See how this soul fares from after all this suffering. I could lie here for good, but with the mind
Interesting how he's
on fire,
saying, with all this suffering, with all this pain, I could just let myself die. But with this help, I'm gonna try to live.
illuminate, and I will follow you.
Big drum percussion really keying up their track, building to its inevitable conclusion. Slowly, and Casey really does build a track incredibly well. purity in that vocal just gives me chills.
The private does what the general says. The general does what the president says.
Such a great segue here into the next track. The soldier, having saved Hunter, is finally returned to his company. In the following weeks and months, Hunter and the soldier form a bond, growing close. The soldier is the son of the general. Through conversations and seeing his belongings, Hunter learns the soldier's life outside of the war. From the city and his mother and fiance waiting upon his return. The next track is he says he got a story. The silver circle sign. Well, we know what the silver circle sign is, right? One day the general soldiers are gathered around. The general begins to tell them a story about an encounter he had years ago with the prostitute. Without diving into the rest of the notes, I can already tell where this is going, and I love it. I love that he can take his voice into this type of register and play this character. This is such a degree of talent and ability, it's amazing. Love that bit of the troops cheering him on for more of the story. There's that heavy, distorted guitar accent again. You really see that he uses that type of passage for coloring and mood building and to paint certain things, and it's really interesting how he uses it. I love that little songwriting hallmark of his. Great rim shots there on the snare drum by the drummer. They did a great job of capturing those in the recording process and the tracking. Great use of the aggressive there, that slight emo scream, really punctuate that. A silver circle sign, the dime, a place Hunter knew all too well. The woman General described was Hunter's mother, Ms. Terry. The first time Hunter learns of his mother's profession and where she went, when she would leave him at home, of the life she truly led, and the General is his father. The next track is This Beautiful Life. This is really building so well. It's such a powerful story. Really fantastic guitar work there, the acoustic plate. Great backing vocals once again. soundscape created here, drawing out of the phrases. So powerful. I say that a lot, but it really is. Great shift once again.
The passages read all the names in a world that had brought us this pain. From the wounds we sustained, a cold callous heart sitting still in.
I love almost that barbershop quartet-like feel of the vocals there. Both the chorus and Casey's voice. Oh, a cold, calloused heart sitting in the cave of his chest to abandon the life of before a boy in his innocence. Just beautifully written, intelligent lyrics. One of the things I love about The Deer Hunter so much. Love the frogs croaking like they're stuck out in the field. Clearly getting ready for an engagement. Days later, the soldiers sit in the trench. The dawn comes battle, and the soldiers sing an old war song to steel themselves.
Get your gun, and let's find out what it does. Shoot, 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 shoot. We haven't won, and if we win, and if the morning light sets in, we cheated fate again. And to those who die, please try to understand.
Love the banjo usage and a little bit of that bluegrass feeling coming in here. Bit of that almost big band swing influence there. Really love it. It's such an interesting way to depict the battle scene with this kind of style. It almost makes the idea of trench warfare a little more palatable. Great drop out there. Love the fact that shoot is done 5 times, because if he's portraying World War I infantryman, the battle rifle of choice back then was the M1903 Springfield, which had a 5-shot magazine. So that's really cool. An internal magazine, but a magazine nonetheless. These lyrics are just so well thought out and composed. love the simplicity of that passage. Just touch of accent to close that out. It's just so good. One of the reasons I love this channel, I truly do, because I wouldn't have listened to these guys on my own. I probably wouldn't have sought them out or discovered them. This is such a treat for me. During the battle, Hunter's half-brother is killed. The next track is Son. Great way to build that. Piano's coming in. I love how almost ambiguous this is in a way where you can kind of pick up, you can imagine different emotions. The sorrow, at the same time, the idea of being able to possibly do something for yourself. I like how you get that slight acoustic guitar there, the way they mixed it. Not wanting to admit to himself, Hunter selfishly sees this as an opportunity to have the life he's always wanted, the one he feels he deserves. Next track is Father. But the general, the father, would be the only one who knew about Hunter. And of course, the next track that we're into is Father. Beautiful strings here. Really start to tug on the proverbial heartstring, if you will.
The Father, will he analyze? And what about the mother? Will she discover the truth behind this lie we're living?
Love the change of the percussion tones there. Really get more of the resonance of the tones from the drums as opposed to the actual drum tones themselves. This record really does need to be listened to on a quality stereo system or studio monitors or a quality set of headphones to really get just how good the mix is. Hunter remembers that poison that was given to him by the poison woman. The drum sounds here sound like they were recorded in a bigger space. bigger hall or something, bigger room. Get that resonance, those trails coming off the hits. It's a gorgeous sound.
She always loved her son, and you look like him.
So powerful, at the same time you realize just how disturbed this dude is. Which makes sense with what all he's gone through in his short life. What a journey, man. This doesn't feel as long as it has been. The very last track here is Life and Death. The purity he's able to get in his tone when he wants to be there is incredible.
We all have hearts, we all have homes, but when we die alone.
It's interesting. Matt's note says Act 3 comes to a close. The fade to black on Hunter's decision to murder his father and assume his half-brother's identity. One final piece leaves us looking at Hunter's life so far. Decisions he's made and the position he's put himself in, where these decisions will take him in the future. Great big band feeling here. Get a bit of that. Distorted guitars. Almost a callback to the earlier parts here. I do wish that was a touch more forward, but I know that's an artistic choice by Casey. Great breakup on that tone, though. Curious to know how far forward this track actually is in the Hunter timeline as he looks back on this. Like, is this him from an older perspective looking back on this part of his life? Or is this right after he makes the decision and is still in combat? This passage is so beautiful. It's like you still get some of that innocence and that purity, even though you know it's been slowly eroding away in the past couple of records.
We die alone.
And they do a great job of making you feel that. Great piano work here to just slowly bring this record to a close. Once again, that's such an outstanding record. 3 records in, each one as good as the last. The stories are just as strong. The creativity is as strong. I'm going to pause it right here. It's got about 3 more seconds to fade out. I don't want it to overrun to the next record. Damn, what a record. I said that the last time, and I said that the first time. 3 records, 3 outstanding listening experiences, 3 almost eye-opening listening experiences for me. And there's so many different thoughts on the record. It's beautifully composed, but thoughts on the character of Hunter himself. This guy's messed up. He's got some issues. He's a very complex, very emotional individual, and him joining the military and going off to fight in World War I clearly just make that worse and exacerbates the problems that he's already had. And it's kind of understandable. He grows up isolated, his mother being a prostitute at the end of the 1800s. He loses his innocence and learns all about prostitutes himself. And his love, the misleading, which is just such a clever play on words there. Casey does a great job with that. And then he runs away from that and joins the military and goes off to fight in World War I, which is arguably, and certainly in my opinion, the most brutal of wars that happened in the 20th century, because trench warfare is just an absolutely insane thing, and killing was definitely evolving at that point. Tactics were evolving, weaponry was evolving, the advent of the machine gun, long-range artillery, and things like tanks were developed to actually get across no man's land and get the trenches and be able to survive and brave massed artillery fire and massed machine guns and placed in really strong positions. I mean, if you look at the Battle of the Somme that lasted over 11 months, over 1 million men were killed in that battle alone. So it's pretty insane if you think about it. And I think they do a great job of really diving into the horrors of it, but doing it in a way that almost makes it palatable and listenable and doesn't break your heart. I love the characterization of the tank as a person. I think that's great. I love mustard gas, having personally been on the receiving end of rockets and mortars. I'll admit, not at the level that they did in World War II, or World War I and World War II, where it was, in Korea for that matter, where it was thousands upon thousands upon thousands of rounds at once. It's a scary thing. And it's certainly, the first time it happened, it scares the crap out of you. And even then, concentrated can be even worse. So to put my mind in that situation is something I can't even fathom, because the combat that I experienced was very different from what it was in World War One. That said, I wouldn't want to have Hunter in my unit. And he's a pretty unstable guy. And I would honestly be a little worried to have a guy that unstable watching my back and having to rely on him when the Murday hits the rotary impeller. So, you know, that's something that definitely catches me. It's like, this guy's a very tortured soul. I don't want to rely on that tortured soul when I'm getting shot at. But the story evolves so well. Just reading those lyrics in the beginning of, he said he had a story. There was a silver circle sign and she was standing at the door. Immediately, you're like, I know where this is going. And it's a great way that it's being done. There's just the story is so well composed. And I love it. It's like one play after another, it's continuing. If I didn't love you guys as much as I did, I truly would just continue this journey and look up the story. But I know it's so important for you guys that I do this on the channel, which can be a difficult thing when I hear a band I really want to dive into, and I have this doing the channel in the past 2 years has increased my patience. That's for sure. Great record. The musicians are top notch. Casey clearly surrounds himself with amazing people, and the composition from top to bottom, lyrics, vocals, musicianship, it's all so well done. The mix isn't as strong here as it was in the first two. I feel like it could have been a little stronger. So that's unfortunate. Like, I feel like the vocal chorus was drowned out a little bit. You don't get the hi-hat as much. You don't get certain things as far as they were previously. I don't know if they changed up who they were using for this record, or if it was just an artistic decision to mix it a little differently. But I would have liked a little bit more clarity in the hi-hat. I would have liked to be able to hear those vocal choruses more. I would have liked to hear those guitar accents, especially the distorted accents, a little more than I was able to. But overall, man, it's just a stellar, stunning record. And the Deer Hunter as a band have kind of been a gateway drug for me. They led me to enjoying this, led one of the other Patreons, Santiago, to recommend the absolutely incredible Dirt Poor Robins. If you're not checking Neil and his wife out, Dirt Poor Robin stuff, you are missing out. They are amazing people and incredibly talented. And they're DIY. It's a project with them and some of their friends and musicians, and they do just an incredible job. And if you like this, you'll like that. I guarantee it, because I certainly did. And they're another band that I might not have gone out of my way to listen to without having my horizons expanded. And of course, we also got a chance to listen to the Decemberists. That got blocked on YouTube. So the Decemberist video is up on BitChute. Because copyright's such a pain sometimes to navigate. But now, Coheed opened up Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter's opened up more and allowed me to get down the rabbit hole of more indie prog, as opposed to like heavier prog that I normally would dive into and normally be a fan of. And honestly, it's making me more well-rounded. So I really appreciate this, because it allows me to appreciate more. fantastic record. Thank you once again to Matthew for all the support and for these amazing story guides. I love them. I know he's slowly going to work on the next one, so we'll start figuring out what we're going to do there. And do let me know. Do you want me to try to gut it out and do color spectrum in one shot? That's probably going to be a bit long for a lot of people as well. Or would you be okay with me like breaking it up halfway through and doing 2 videos on it? I know you guys have to wait a little bit. Hopefully, ideally, I'd like to do those pretty close together, like one day and one the next. And maybe I might have to hold off on filming that until I can do that if that's truly what you guys are after, so I don't really lose the feeling. But I just don't know if I can do 2.5 hours in a single shot. That's a tough ask. But I look forward to doing it regardless. I think it's going to be a great experience, as all their stuff truly is so far. Don't ask me to pick a favorite between the 3, because they're all amazing. And honestly, one doesn't have to be better than the other. I do have more experience and time with Act 1 and 2. I think Act 2 is amazing. Been the one I've been listening to the most as of late. But now I get to add this one to the mix. Different feeling, different vibe, completely based around horror. So it's interesting, more interesting for me because I really can put myself in those shoes a bit more with my personal experiences. And just outstanding stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm sorry it's taken so long. I know many of you guys have been waiting for it. I do have a request though. When comments have popped up recently, 1, give me a full sentence, not just Deer Hunter Act 3 ? When are you doing the Deer Hunter? Full sentences. And more importantly, if you're going to go to another video, especially one from an unsigned band or a lesser known band that I'm trying to promote, at least comment on their stuff. Don't just ask me about what you want, because you're disrespecting the artist. So, a little bit of soapbox there at the end. I've said that before, and I'll continue to push that, to beat that drum a little bit. I do feel like it's a little disrespectful to the other bands, especially because, like what happened with Blame Zeus and No a couple of days ago, those are bands that are contacting me and asking me to do their stuff, and they do read the comments. So, thanks, guys. I love you. Thank you, Matt, my friend. I truly appreciate you. Thank you to my law enforcement, military, veterans, and first responders, which you do every single day. As always, you have been awesome. I have been Baldman. See you in the next one. Be excellent to each other. Keep head banging.